I'm sure that there's some others that might want to skim through this recording as well. So here we go, 10 cool tools to the internet. These are all going to be web-based tools. I'm going to be sharing my screen. Actually, I already am sharing my screen. And let's get started. So the first one is one that's going to be somewhat familiar probably to a lot of you. I know that Michelle has actually even helped me lead a session on Quizlet, but that is Quizlet. Now, Quizlet's great, obviously, because you can create quizzes on the web. It's great for more low-stakes approach to quizzing. And it doesn't just have to be quizzing. It can be review. It can be flashcards. There's a lot of different applications of this. The thing that you're going to hear a lot, in addition to how students can put it to use and how you can put it to use in this session, is also that a lot of these items can be directly embedded into Canvas. And I'm not talking about the LTI external tool, things that make you say, I need to add an app and do all those things. That sounds like a lot of work. In most cases, this is just a simple embed. And I'll show you how easy that is for most of these as well. So if I pop back over to the World Wide Web, I already have Quizlet open and I have an account. There's a free account and a paid account. We can get into why you should use the free and why you should use the paid. If you want to talk about why you need to use the paid account, you can speak to Michelle because she has one of those. I'm just going to show you the free account quickly. And so when you go into Quizlet, you create an account. You can see I have my account up here in the upper right-hand corner. That's where you find your profile picture most of the time. And you can see all my different, well, not all of my different, but some of my recent quiz items here. And like I said, there's a lot of different ways that you can put this to use. So if I go up here to create, you can see that I can create a folder to hold all of my different Quizlets. I can add a class directly on here, but you don't really need to do that unless you're going to really dive into it. But we can also create what's called a study set. Now, those of you that have taken the Canvas core training, you might have played that little game where you try and match up all the flashcards and things like that and beat each other's score. That's where I got this from. So if you go to a study set, you can create a lot of different, and there's going to be a pop-up window there, you can see that. You can create a lot of different types of Quizlets, okay? And so I might enter a title. You see they give me an example. I'm just going to call this Quizlet Example 1. I can give it a description if I want. I'm not going to do that, but now I can add images and I can start building my Quizlet. So for this one, all we're doing is matching terms, okay? And there's other ones to it as well, different examples that you can make this into. And like I said, I'm not going to fill this in and create all this, but all of you have seen an example of the Quizlet. If I dive in here and we go to, I'm going to open up this Canvas core training where you've seen it before. And if I go to my modules, I should have had this one open already. See, I didn't quite prepare as I should have for this. But you can see I have the keyword reviews, and just in case you forgot, we started, and you can see how this Quizlet right here is embedded right into a Canvas course. Now I've heard examples of students putting, and I'm not paying any attention right here, so that's why I'm getting them wrong, and I'm just totally guessing. There we go, and you can see they go away. But I've heard examples of students putting these to use in the nursing department for preparing for terminology quizzes and exams. And it's not just terms, like this is just the example here, but you can also bring images into it as well. So if you wanted to identify different parts of a cell or something like that, that's another way that you could put Quizlet to use. Canvas makes it very easy to embed items, as I showed you previously. They now have this easy embed icon. So if you go to Quizlet or any item that allows you to embed, I'm going to back out of this example and find one that already exists. So Quizlet, let's see here. Here's one of my key terms. One, if I go to view, I'm going to be able to easily share this. And of course, they want me to upgrade, of course. But you can see the share icon right here. And from here, I can copy the link. I think there's also embed code. There it is. So if I go to the menu button, I can just steal this embed code right there, take it back over to Canvas, and drop it right in there. And that's all you have to do is paste that code in there, and it's going to show up just like this for your students to participate in. Now, the cool thing about this as well is I believe I can view a leaderboard as well when I finish this, but I actually have to complete it, and I'm not going to take the time because I told you I'd be fast. But your students who complete this, it will actually show a leaderboard and who finishes the fastest within your course. So a little competition for your students as well. So that's Quizlet right there. It's free for the most part, but there's also, if you want to up your game a little bit, speak to Michelle. She'll give you a good testimonial on how the paid version might be helpful. Another item, the second item, is Quizlet. It's not Quizlet, it's ThingLink. Now, I have brought ThingLink to the table before and shown you that, but I think it might have been a year, maybe even, actually, it was probably 2 years ago because we had COVID in between there. Oh, yeah, COVID. And so ThingLink is really kind of sweet and underutilized, and I'm glad that I thought to include this because if I pop out of here, ThingLink allows you to pull images into something that is what's the word? I'm brain farting right now, but it interactive. Okay, so for example, here's one example. So here's a current room setup that we're going to have. So you see the screens right here. Well, I can actually take these little these little markers, and I can provide more information on those. So you can take any image that you want. Okay, you could take a picture of a body and put different markers all around it, so that when students hover over it in Canvas, it will give them more information on what that area is. So you can see I dropped 2 markers on this example right here. And if you want to know what kind of TVs are going to be hung on the wall, all you have to do is click on that marker and you can see what it's going to look like. But you can also embed a website and go there and be like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. Look at that, 4K. Nice, love it. Okay, so another example is I took this back here and you can see that I brought an image in here. And I actually created this image in Canva, which I went over briefly in our last session on images. But Canva allows you to create images, okay, very easily. And that's not Canvas, that's Canva. They leave the S off. But I can then take an image that I created in Canva, drag it and drop it into ThingLink, and just start adding markers, okay? And it's very easy for me to add these markers. I just go to edit in the upper right-hand corner there, and I add what are called tags, okay? And you can see that I can drag this tag wherever I want. Boom, right there. And I can add text and media, which that was the example of the image that I added for the screen. And that will allow me to, over on the left here, add a title to it. I can also add a big description, and I can add a web address. So you saw that I added that CDW address. I can also add an image, and I'll show you what that image looks like here on an actual example. So I took the time to actually add this into the Canvas course for this session, and I added it as an objective. So check this out. Where before I just added a simple image in here of this, now I added my ThingLink. So now you can see those little icons right there, and if I go and I click on them, it will actually give me information on that image right within Canvas. So the first one is our objectives for the day are to learn about new, for you, maybe, web-based tools. And we're like, what's a web-based tool? So we click on that. And now we can read more about what web-based tools are, something that runs on the web browser. It's also referred to as an app, application, or program. And you can read this whole thing if you want some other time, because all of you have access to this. But I also added that web address again. So if I wanted to learn even more about web-based tools and add and attach more resources, look at that. Very easy to do. So in addition to you as the instructor creating things like this, your students can create these and share these as assignments as well. So you could say, I want to see a summary, like a 3-point summary of what you thought of the reading. And then I want you to expand on that with images and resources and things like that for each summary. So instead of them writing a paper or creating a PowerPoint, something like that they've done time and time again in a lot of different courses, this just kind of changes how they can present the material, be a little bit more creative, and pull things like images, text, web resources, even video into what they're doing for your class. And so if I click through some of these other ones, actually before I do that, check out this little icon right here. Immersive Reader works on this as well. So if you're an Immersive Reader fan, that's there for you as well. So if we go to the second one, check this out. Instead of putting a bunch of text, I just added an image there. So your students don't just see what the objective is, they can actually look at what the objective is and paint a better picture for it. And we go to the third one. We're going to share your ideas and simplify application. Check this one out. I'm very proud of this one because to this point, it's just kind of been like resource and explanation things. but this one catapults your students right into doing something. Okay, so when I click on this, you can see that there's an opportunity for your students or anybody that's attending this to share. So if you were to go into the objective area and click on this third one, I want to know what you're already doing as far as using web-based tools. And so this is going to divert us just a second. I know I'm taking a long time with this one, but if I click on this, it's going to take me to a content page within this course. And all of you, it actually does exist. I just changed the name of it. But all of you have access to editing a content page. Did you know that you can give your students access to editing a content page in Canvas? Did you know that? Okay, so a content resource page like this, all of you have access to edit that. And to do that, super simple. You just click on edit, and down below here in the options, users allowed to edit this page. Generally, it's only teachers, but you can change it to teachers and students. And you can allow everybody to add content and bring content into your course. So if somebody is visiting this page after the fact and wanted to see like, oh, what are other people using? How are other people using web-based tools? You all put your answers in here. I'm not saying that you have to do it right now. I'm just giving you an example on what can be done. So that is ThingLink right there. I'm sure that you can let your imaginations run wild. There's a lot of ways that you can put it to use, that your students can put it to use as well. And the best part is you can take a simple image, add more information to it for your students to click through. Like, I mean, I don't know about you, but when I see something like that little icon to click on, I can't help but click on that thing and see what that's all about. It's like a surprise waiting for me. Okay, if you give me a whole page information, I'm going to be bored and try and scroll through it. Okay, sorry. And that's not always the case, but sometimes. But if you have a little plus icon where you're like, I dare you to click on that door right there. What's behind door number 2? You might just catch your students right there with that one. And I'm not saying you need to catch your students in order to force them to learn. You get what I'm saying. So number 3 is Sway. Sway is something that you've had access to for a long time. It's in your My Apps area. Sway is basically a different way for you to give a presentation or share information. Just like the previous 2 tools, your students do have access to build and create Sways as well. The thing I like about Sway is, first of all, its name, and it rhymes with a lot of things, but also it really works well on a lot of different devices. So like PowerPoint can be a little clunky, you know, if you try and bring it to mobile and create and stuff like that. Sway works all day. And so let me back out of here. You may have seen a Sway before. A good example of a Sway that you may have seen is that an annoying dashboard announcement. I'm trying to get my mouse to show up. Where is my mouse? Well, there we go. So if we go to the dashboard, I just reposted this for the summer term students leading up to it. But I embedded, yes, I embedded, it's not a file. I embedded a Sway right here in the dashboard. And now it doesn't scroll the greatest. I got to kind of move up and down. But I mean, it cruises through. Gives a bunch of different information. You can add images, you can add links, so I can actually click on these links to go to these resources. And so I'm just cruising through, and these are all different slides. I mentioned that you can find it from the My Apps area. I wasn't lying. You just go down here to Sway, and just like you would for like PowerPoint or Word online and things like that, you're going to see a list of all the different Sways you have available to you. But I already have them open over here. And when I go to open it to edit it, you can see it's just a bunch of cards right here. And what you saw me scrolling through are just these different titles. I threw an image in, I threw some text in. And Microsoft takes that, piles that together, and makes it look really nice. So if I go ahead and play this, you can see I just cruise through, and the transitions are smooth. It pops up, slides in. The images are pretty clear. And if they're not, it's probably my fault. But you can see I'm moving through all of those different tiles that I created there, and information just keeps popping up. If there's a GIF, I believe the GIF will just play. And I'm not really giving it enough time to, and that's the end of my Sway. Very easy to share. Okay, you can share it to specific people in an organization. You can share it. It says a link with anybody. If you go down here, you can grab that embed code. And you can paste that embed code, just like we did with Quizlet, right into any Canvas-rich content editor. So it makes it very easy for you to share something. Now, this isn't for me to say like, hey, you need to start using Sway instead of PowerPoint. But if you wanted to quickly come up with something that can easily share links and images and videos and things like that, and students can access it on any device without having to sign in, and you don't have to worry about, can they get to PowerPoint? Sway is a pretty good way to go. Okay, I'm done rhyming way with Sway for a little bit. Number 4, Padlet. Padlet's another pretty popular one. I didn't realize that Padlet is no longer like totally free. Brian Gardner pointed that out to me yesterday. But nevertheless, you can keep reusing the different Padlets that you have. Padlet is a nice way to kind of modify a discussion, to post kind of a quick feedback loop for your students. Basically, if you've used Nearpod and used the Collaborate board, it allows you to set up a board where students can just come in and they can post different, so you could like prompt like, how are you feeling today? And they could say good, and somebody else could respond to that. I had one instructor that wanted to use it for anonymous feedback from something that they talked about in their course. Padlet is great for that because you can allow your students to post anonymously, and so that they can share their feelings without people knowing who they are. And the best part is you can also respond to items in Padlet. And I don't have, where's my example here? And I don't know if I had, if I actually made an example that actually has items on it. I thought I did. But you can see one that was shared with me from a past session. I actually didn't run this one. But you can see people can post, like any of you, if I shared this one with you, and I'll move this out of the way, you can see that the plus is right here. And I'm not going to add to it right now because people would probably think I'm kind of strange. But all I have to do if I'm a student or if I'm a contributor to this, I just click on the plus and I can add a post to this. I can also like other people's posts or obviously dislike. And you can set these up as the instructor. Like you get to make the decision on if there's likes or if it's anonymous. Even the background, you saw the nice grass there, and I added the EdTech Dialect image to this one. So I could go here and I could post something. Welcome to session 3. And I hope you love all the cool tools. Which was your favorite? Okay. And I could add a file to this. I can add a web link. I can add other items. I can add an image. And you can see that there's a lot of things that I can add to this as well. Okay. If I want to share this out with all of you, I can do that by a quick link. I can also embed this into a Canvas item, just like I have on the previous 3 tools. And you can, and your students can access this right within Canvas. So they don't have to navigate to this site. They could access it from a content page, from an assignment area. They can give some feedback into assignment, like before doing it or after doing it. Or you could even put it into a Microsoft team as a tab within your channel. If I were to bring it over to this and share it in the chat area, Rob thinks I have a problem. I'm cool with that. And there we go. Now that I'm in the chat, I'm seeing Todd post something. I can see the progress with Kevin's place over the past year. I remember when he was Mr. Caulk Gun. I think we discussed that. Did we discuss that about doing some trim? Is that where that came from? Oh, I got you. Now I'm following you now, Todd. Sorry, that one went way over my head. I actually didn't do any work in the basement down here. This was done before. So if I were doing this session upstairs, I'd show you the work that I do. But I just can't do that right now. So there's the Padlet right there. If you want to share on it, if you want to just visit it quick, it's very easy for you to do that. As I mentioned, I could take this embed code, bring this right over to a Canvas content page. If I didn't want this Quizlet to be here anymore, I can just get rid of that and paste. Oops, that's the web address. I want the embed code. There it is. Copy it. And seriously, if I can find the tab again, it'll be just that simple. Boom. There we go. Okay. And you can see my Padlet's now there. Look at that. Okay. And I can click on the plus and I can add items right here within Canvas. But that's enough about Padlet. Let's move on to number 5. I said I was going to go fast. TikTok. TikTok's catching on. Obviously, your students probably been using it for a long time. I know my daughter's been begging for it for a long time. I have a TikTok. TikTok is great because it allows you to post like no longer than 60-second videos. And that's not to say that you shouldn't talk for any longer than 60 seconds, but it allows you to quickly kind of give micro lessons. And you can take those TikToks. I don't believe you can embed them, but you can easily copy them, the URL, into anything in Canvas. Obviously, your students probably know their way around TikTok pretty well. So you might suggest like, hey, if you go out on the nature trails, if you're given, if you want to try a discussion a little bit in a different way, or have a little back and forth with somebody, you can do TikToks. You can also do TikToks that allow you to, and I don't know the term right now, but allow you to play somebody else's TikTok while giving commentary on that TikTok. So it's almost like a split screen. So imagine like a student in your class submitting a TikTok and your student responding to that TikTok with their own TikTok. So for some of you that it's like, wow, this is crazy talk, I'm never going to get into TikTok, and that's okay. But it definitely is kind of something where your students are already at, and it's very short and to the point. And you can also download TikToks as well and share them or submit them as assignments. But I don't see why you would want to do that when it's a very easy web link. While we're talking on the topic of TikTok, there is a sweet TikTok to follow if you're not already following it. It's this guy, Mike Dolphin. He's a Microsoft guy, and he comes out with new videos like every single day. I don't know how he does it, because for any of you that's have ever created videos, like to do them halfway decent takes a lot of time. That's why I don't do that many videos, because they take a lot of time. But he might have somebody else at Microsoft kind of like creating them for him, giving him a script, and he just reads it. That's what I'm choosing to believe, just to make me feel better about things. But yeah, TikTok's really sweet. If you haven't been on TikTok, create yourself an account. They're free. Follow me. And Mike Dolphin's a good one as well. I'm sure you'll find plenty of other educators that are pretty cool too. All right, Genially. Now this is a new one, and I don't have a ton of experience with this, but I just want to show you one example of why I think it's pretty sweet. And let me find that tab. I got a serious tab game going on here. But it's something called a choice board. And you can actually take these choice boards or anything that you create and place them and embed them into your Canvas course. And the cool thing is they have like they can have a lot of links and resources attached to them. So here is my example here. I have an option for students to, instead of just everybody reading an article or everybody reading the same article and doing the same assignment, they have a choice whether they want to read this article, or this article, and that takes them down a path. And from that, they can choose to design something, or they can choose to make a video, or they can choose to do an assignment. Now, you're probably like, that's going to be a lot more work for me. But keep in mind that once you create these things, they're established. And I know that the creation can take some time. But you can also combine some different activities that you might already be doing into one, or just make a quick modification, and how you might say, okay, they're already creating a PowerPoint for this. How about instead I say, you can create a video as well. And so creating a choice board like this allows them to, you can link different articles here. And then you can also link different assignments. So this might be a link to another Canvas assignment, a link to a second Canvas assignment. And these might all reside in Canvas, but they link around in your course. And that's something I can really help you out with if it's something that you want to do or you might be interested in learning more about. But you put this as like a content page, or embed this item in a content page or an assignment area, and allow your students to click through these different items. And it gives them kind of a bit of an ownership over what they're doing in your course. It doesn't have to be for every module. It might just be something that you do once or twice. Students can also use this if they're building like a collection of resources or a project they're working on. It just gives them another way to kind of make it look nice, better organize it. And they can very easily embed this as well if you give them like the rich content editor for assignment submission, the text edit, the text entry option, and it should show up in SpeedGrader for you as well. And so that is Genially right there, relatively new one. Basically, this is mostly about adding interactive images, and it's kind of has some elements of Canva and also ThingLink to it as well. So pretty cool, free tool. But like always, in most cases, you're going to see there's an option to upgrade to premium. So they grab you with the free version and really pull you in. Number 7, AutoDraw. This one's sweet. in the simple fact that you can just kind of get lost having fun with this one. And so it's simply autodraw.com. And if you click on this little black button right here, you can start drawing. Now check this out. I can't draw very well, but AutoDraw really helps me draw a police car. Look at this. Okay. All right. That's not very good, is it? But with AutoDraw, they know me. They knew what I was doing. And just like that, I have a police car. And I can go a step further and I can start filling this thing in. Look at that. My bumper needs to be silver. Boom. Oops, took too much, but that's fine. It still looks pretty cool. And just like that, I have a police car. And I can take this thing and I can add some text to it if I want. Or I can add like, now this is where you turn your overhead lights on. Well, actually not where you turn it, but that's where they appear. And so we could actually take this and add this as supplemental images into our Canvas course, because they're really easy to download too. We just go to these sidebars and we download it. And just like that, we have that beautiful creation that we just created, and we can fool everyone and think that we're really good artists. If I go back here, I think I could draw a bike too. I wonder if it'll know I'm drawing a bike. So if I go like this, and I'm telling you, I cannot draw. Oh, look at that. Did you mean the first thing, just based on that, it already knew I was drawing a bike. Okay. And if you don't like the colors, that's okay. You can change the color of your bike. It's not gonna let me right now. Boom. Ah, come on. It was letting me, but there we go. Okay. I just must not have been clicking on it right. Okay. So I can add a bunch of different images to this. I can always add some text. And you've seen enough of me drawing. You can have some fun with this. But this website doesn't actually like embed into Canvas. It's more of a product of the images that you create and then download, and then you can add them in. So maybe you say, Kevin, shouldn't you have been using this one in the last session where you talked about images? And you might have a point there, but I think this is a pretty cool tool of the internet. So that's why I put it in this session. All right, we're almost done. Number 8, FlipGrid. We did a whole session on FlipGrid already, but I just want to remind you that FlipGrid does exist. It lives in Canvas. There is a website for it right here. And when I go into it and link my account, it will show all of my different items that I have in Canvas. If you're interested in using FlipGrid and you don't have a clue, let me know, and I will help you set up FlipGrid in your course. But if I bounce over to a course, where the heck is it? There it is. I already had a tab. So this is the EdTech Dialect course that I have, and you can see there's a FlipGrid link right here. And right from here, I can start adding FlipGrids as assignments. If you put them in as an assignment, they will flow into the grade book. And if you're sitting here thinking, Kevin, I don't even know what FlipGrid is, and I didn't see the session, that's okay. FlipGrid is a way for you to do video discussions. So you can post a prompt, you can post a text prompt or a video prompt, or you can post like a YouTube video or any sort of prompt that you want, and the students respond using video. They can use their smartphone, they can use their webcam, and you can also just allow them to respond via audio if you want. But it's a quick and easy way for students to interact a little differently instead of always having to type out a discussion. They can just quickly record a 15, 20 second, 5 minute, however long, and you can cap it, video response to a discussion. And it really kind of makes them put a little bit more thought into it because they're recording as they go. But there's also a lot of fun that can be had with it because there's filters and they can add different backgrounds and stuff like that. So definitely something, if you're kind of like bored and discussions aren't really going anywhere, if you just want to spruce things up a little bit, check out FlipGrid.
Kevin, how will they know they can create a video?
What's that?
How will they know they can create a video?
Oh man, it like shows up like right here in the FlipGrid area. It'll show up in the grade book as an assignment. It'll show up on their to-do list if you do it as an assignment. And so once they get there, and I don't have it open as student view right now, but I can follow up with you on that if you want to see it. But it will say, like, there will be a huge icon on the screen right here that you're seeing that says like start video or something along those lines. They click it, it'll ask them to allow access to their webcam and mic, and they're off and running. If they access via the mobile app, the Canvas student app, it's really the same thing, but it'll bump them over from that to either getting the FlipGrid app, or if they already have the FlipGrid app, and then they can record from their mobile device using that. So yeah, that's a good question. I mean, it is pretty easy to use. From what you're seeing right here, you're not going to see what the students see yet, unless See, I didn't set one up in this course, but this is just an example one. You can see like right from here, we can get this started and get it set up. So last two, Wakelet. Wakelet is a place to create collections. It's kind of, have you ever heard of this site called Pinterest? It's a little bit like Pinterest in that it allows you to create different collections. So if we go back to, I think it was maybe Genially that I mentioned that you could start adding a bunch of different collections for if you're doing like a project for students or something like that. Wakelet's kind of cool. Maybe just another way to do something. Every time I transition over from PowerPoint, I have to find my mouse. So here's Wakelet here. So what I did was created a very simple one. And all I did was listed all of the different cool tools from this session right here. And that's something that I could share this collection out with everybody. Now this is kind of boring, but you know, between each one, I could add just simple web resources. I could add images, bookmarks, different PDFs. So, you know, if you did have like something you typed up, you could PDF it and throw it in here. And check this out. When I click on apps, we can bring in tweets. So how many times are you scrolling Twitter and you're like, man, I really want to share this with a bunch of people, but those people aren't on Twitter. And I don't think these people will actually see that. Well, you can actually pull tweets into here as well. We just talked about FlipGrid. Check this out. We can actually record a FlipGrid and pull this in to a Wakelet. All right. YouTube videos, Google Drive, we're OneDrive users. So like there's a ton of different resources that we can pull into here as a collection. If you hate seeing it like that, you can scroll through it like this. And keep in mind, mine's super boring. Before this session, as I was prepping, it wouldn't allow me to put a cover image in. So yeah, sorry for the boringness here, if that's a word. Last but not least is Pictochart. Sorry for the, I don't know what's going on with my text there. But Pictochart, just like a lot of them, are free. Basically for people that want to design absolutely anything from logos, social media content. Basically, Pictochart is another Canva in that it will allow you to create pretty cool designs. So if you're like, you know, hey, I'm bored with the PowerPoint thing and I want you to create an infographic. If you haven't had your students create an infographic, infographics are kind of mind-boggling a little bit because you got to take a whole lot of information and make sense of it visually. But it's a different way for me, at least from my perspective, to look at something. It helps me to better visualize with images and things like that. And Pictochart is super helpful. You can see them in the posters area here, but you can also create presentations and slide decks from here. If you were needed to create flyers or build reports, they look really nice. So the next time you have to compile some information, bring that information on over to Pictochart. You can create it, it's free, and then it's very easy for you to share it in a Canvas course or in your teams or wherever it is that you need to share things. So that's 10 tools right there. That is the end of my session. If you have any questions on any of these, I know that I flew through them. That was the whole idea, just to show you that they exist, what you can do, and it's up to you, with my support, of course, if you need it, to dive into this stuff and make it happen for your students. Don't feel like you have to, okay? And don't do it just because it's a cool tool. You know, if you actually have a need for it and your students are wanting to try something different, that's when you can come back to these things and say, Kevin, help me out. So if you have any questions, I'm hanging out. I don't have anything for a little bit. So other than that, you're dismissed. Thanks for coming, though. I appreciate it. Elizabeth, good question. Yeah, students can use Pictochart. It's free.
Okay, cool. I make them do a report in one of my classes, and it has to look professional, so that would be cool because Microsoft doesn't have that many options.
Yeah, we can fool a lot of people using Pictochart. For sure. You're welcome, Todd. Heather, you said, I wonder if it can do cells. I missed that in the flow of the conversation, but can I help at all?
It was the one where when you started to draw something, it guessed what you could do.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like you drew a bike and a police car. If we started to draw those cells? Would it guess?
I don't know. I'll tell you, I did an arrow and it didn't guess the arrow. Now, of course it does now. My arrow got really good since I was practicing it now through the session. But you asked about like not like this kind of cell. We're not talking like this kind of cell. I actually did draw a cell before this, and I think it did, but it might have been the moon too. No, come on, give me it. Maybe I got to draw my circle a little more cellular. Come on, pick or AutoDraw. Where is my cell? Yeah, it must have recognized it as the moon earlier, but it thinks I'm drawing a lot of things.
Yeah, it looks like a phone.
But I mean, like, once you get one, you're good to go. I don't know. Basically the same thing. So yeah, you can have a lot of fun with AutoDraw. Any other questions? Don, I think what I got when I did it was actually the moon. Excuse me, was actually the moon. But it kind of did look like a cell as well. I don't know what that is. That's some sort of planet, or is that a soccer ball? But you can always, like, you can come in and draw in like your own coloring to it if you wanted to enhance something. And this works a lot better with a stylus as well. I'm just using my trackpad. So, and it does clean it up. You can see after I let up, kind of straightens it a little bit or fills in some gaps. So, AutoDraw, mindless engagement for hours. All right, going once, going twice. I mean, we can just hang out too. Carol, did you learn anything today?
I came in kind of late, but I think there are a couple of things I might try. I like that AutoDraw thing, but it doesn't really apply to Spanish very much. That's just for fiddling around. Yeah. But I like those little short video things. Might be quite useful for my students in their presentations, I think. So. Did
you go to our longer-winded FlipGrid session?
No, I didn't make that.
You are, I think Dina might have, but you are 100% correct. It would be phenomenal for Spanish and practicing. I know that sign language uses it a ton as well.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you recorded that, right? I can find it somewhere?
Yeah, I'll look for it and send it your way.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yes, you're welcome. My pleasure.
All right, everybody. Well, I'll cut you loose. Thanks for rolling in today. I appreciate it. And if you got any questions, let me know.